Hello kids, as you have learned to paint this sky in a previous session, in this video, I'm giving you a quick revision of the third session of watercolor. And in that, you have learned to define the water at base. So I'm giving you a revision of that and you will understand how we need to use a different type of brush stroke to define water. So first, what we do, the process is similar. We need to make our paper wet. So for that, take your brush and apply here and see how I'm moving my brush. Keep your brush very light. Do not apply much pressure on your paper and just lightly you need to move your brush over here. Now, after this, we'll start with a yellow color tone and move in a reverse manner of the sky. Means after yellow, we'll use magenta, then violet, and then blue if required. First, we choose a deep yellow here. That is the cadmium yellow I'm using. We'll start from a corner and see how I'm using my brush. You don't need to press your brush completely. You just need to use tip of your brush and move here till middle part. From this corner also move it here in the middle part. And leave some white gap in between. You don't need to paint it completely. You just need to mark strokes. From corner, just bring this line inside. From here also, bring this line inside. So here we are painting quite light. We'll dark it in our second layer. As we did for sky, we'll follow the same process. Just the difference in the brush strokes. Here we need to create the impression of water waves. And in the middle part, we keep it white to define sunlight and shine over the water. After yellow, I'm using magenta color tone. And I believe if you don't have magenta, I believe you know how to prepare the magenta color. And so magenta is a combination of violet and red. So we'll prepare our color. So yes, we'll get the magenta. And now we'll apply this tone here from corner. Don't use it very dark. Try to blend the color with yellow. See how I'm using my brush. You only need to use tip of your brush. Do not press your brush completely. See how I'm using? I'm only pressing the tip like this. Do not paint it complete. As I mentioned, you need to leave a white gaps here in the middle part to define highlight and shine. After magenta, just react a little bit. And it's almost done. So the first layer is complete. We'll add dark tone in second layer. After magenta, here we use violet. So here's the violet color tone. Keep tones quite light. Here at first layer, we keep our tones light. So watercolor, as I mentioned in our previous lesson, watercolor is the technique from where we start from light tone to dark tone. Hmm? So always start from a light tone. Now after violet, we'll add a little bit blue color. And we'll let this dry. Once it dry, we'll apply more dark tone to define the water waves. Now as our first layer is dry, we'll apply dark tones. Now first we use orange color to apply the dark tone here on yellow, and we need to define a line of horizon. Start from a corner and see how I'm using my brush. Use only tip of your brush. Now we'll apply more dark tones here. Follow the same process this side. Do not press your brush completely on your paper. See how I'm holding my brush and moving it. Keep maintain that wide gap in between. As I already mentioned in my previous lessons, the reason of keeping the white of a paper is because in watercolor, we don't use white to define highlights. That's why we need to keep the white of paper visible. After orange, we'll use magenta color tone. And then we'll start defining the dark tones here. And as magenta is blend with orange, it appears to be little brown. So don't worry for that. Let more color low. And now I'm using quite a bit violet, this part. And then we'll use blue. If you don't have a space for blue, you can skip the blue. That's not an issue. But at the end, keep a dark tone. Okay. So if it is a violet, you need to keep the dark tone of violet at the end. The reason of applying the dark tone here in corner is to create the attraction here in the middle part. As a middle appears to be bright, it creates a nice contrast in your painting. Contrast means the difference between the light and dark tone. Now we'll apply a little bit more darker tone here on corner, and with this part, this side also. and we'll blend it more with orange. And with this, our base is complete. So practice the same and we'll continue with this in our next session.